Trapmore gang, there's been some very tragic news coming out of Los Angeles. Legendary film director Rob Reiner has unfortunately been murdered in his home alongside his wife, and they're saying that the person responsible is his own son. Now, I'm going to break down some backstory on this situation and how it got to this point, and I'm also going to make a comparison to another very well-known murder case in California that you might know if you've been following this channel, and we're going to talk about why things are a little bit different and why in this case they immediately worked out who was responsible and arrested the person allegedly responsible, but in that other case it's been months and months and months of absolutely nothing going on, and there's some interesting insights to be found from covering this. But before we do that, I just want to show you basically what's been going on. Okay, director Rob Reiner and wife Michelle Singer have been stabbed to death in their LA home. Okay, and here's a bit of news reporting on the situation.
Let's get back to that breaking news on the death of legendary director Rob.
Just show up here in the neighborhood of Brentwood.
And his
Wife.
The New York native and his wife found stabbed to death inside their Los Angeles home. So far, no arrests. ABC News' Trevor Alt, joins us live from Los Angeles with the very latest on the investigation. Good morning to you, Trevor.
Good morning, Charlene. Good morning, Pedro. So we just saw an emergency response truck just show up here in the neighborhood of Brentwood in Los Angeles as this death investigation continues. And while we did get an update yesterday from the LAPD, they released very few specific details on the state of the investigation. What we do know is that both the mayor of Los Angeles and the family of Rob Reiner confirmed that he and his wife, Michelle Singer, have both died. The LAPD said they were called here because of a death investigation, and they say inside the house they found the bodies of a 78-year-old and a 68-year-old as well. The LAPD would not even go as far as to confirm that it was Reiner and Singer inside, but as we've heard from officials in the family, they have now been killed. This investigation, though, still very clearly in its early stages. We have law enforcement that has closed off the block here. They say that this is going to be ongoing. We know they've been working on getting a search warrant to continue that investigation, and in the meantime, the bodies of the couple are still inside the home. We have, of course, had media out here since this news first broke. We know that some close friends of Rob Reiner showed up here on the scene. Billy Crystal, Larry David. Rob Reiner, of course, has been an incredibly impactful filmmaker and incredibly impactful for American culture, directed such iconic films as The Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally, A Few Good Men, This Is Spinal Tap, Stand By Me, a ton of great American films, and now his family and the mayor have confirmed his passing. We are still, though, in those early stages of the investigation, and we're trying to get some more details from the LAPD. But what we did hear from senior law enforcement officials is that the couple appears to have been stabbed to death, guys.
So they were found stabbed to death in their home, and now since that original reporting, there's been updates.
To the murder of actor director Rob Reiner.
They're basically saying that their son, Nick Reiner, has now been, within a day of this happening, he's been charged with first-degree murder. All right, and they're saying first-degree murder with special circumstances, and he's being held without bail. He's 32 years old. Okay, so basically this says Nick Reiner has been charged with the murder of his parents, renowned director Rob Reiner, and his wife, Michelle Singer. The charges of 2 counts of first-degree murder with the special circumstance of multiple murders were filed Tuesday afternoon. The 32-year-old also faces a special allegation that he personally used a dangerous and deadly weapon, a knife. I don't know what this special allegation. I don't sound too special. It sounds twisted allegation to me. The charges carry a maximum sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole or even the death penalty. It says no decision has been made with respects to the death penalty, and he's expected to appear in court on Wednesday. Now, apparently their daughter found the parents stabbed to death in the Brentwood home on the Sunday, and Nick Reiner had actually been living on his parents' property. Apparently Nick wasn't at home when the parents were found, and basically he was taken into custody near the USC campus in Exposition Park, and he's been held without bail. Okay, and this basically is some footage that apparently shows his arrest.
We want to show you this just in photos we are getting just now from the Los Angeles Police Department. We have not seen these until this moment. We're looking at them with you. Police making that arrest of Nick Reiner overnight Sunday around the USC area, which of course is quite a distance from the Brentwood area, but that's where he was located. We were told this is where the arrest happened, and now these photos have now just been released by LAPD. You see Nick Reiner there appearing to be on the ground during the arrest.
Yeah, and we know that there, again, there was so much investigation happening within this case for police to find this person of interest, obviously the son, We now are, again, he has not been cleared, medically cleared, so we don't know exactly how DA Hochman is going to present the charges when Reiner will then be appearing in court. We don't know. We're not going to, I don't think we're going to get a lot of details, as many people are very curious about what happened to his parents. You know, we know he attended a holiday party. We saw last night on Jimmy Kimmel that I believe Michelle and Barack Obama, at least we know Michelle Obama, they were going to be visiting with the Reiners on Sunday night. They obviously were close with them. They were devastated to hear about this murder.
I mean, that's crazy, right? Like they was basically about to be meeting with the Obamas, right? That night that they got murdered. Now, this is crazy. It's a video apparently showing Nick Reiner moments before his arrest and him being taken into custody. He in a convenience store buying a drink, just out here, just acting like everything normal, like he didn't just allegedly hack up his parents in their home.
Breaking news, this video just in moments ago. It shows Nick Reiner being arrested right near USC. You can see an LAPD unit racing to the intersection of Exposition and Vermont. Once an officer gets out of the car, you can see Reiner put his hands up. Moments before this, Reiner was seen across the street and inside a convenience store purchasing a drink. That's him there. This all happened Sunday night, hours after his father, actor-director Rob Reiner, and his mother, Michelle, were found dead inside their Brentwood home. Earlier today, Reiner was formally charged with his parents' murders.
So he's been formally charged, okay. Basically, what's crazy, and we're going to get into all of the backstory about this. He'd been battling drug addiction since he was a teenager. There was a movie about it and all of that kind of stuff. But I just want to draw your attention to one thing, okay? This is a post that's going around on Reddit right now. It says, Rob Reiner's son arrested night of by LAPD, but crickets on David. I think it's a really good point. It says, I don't really know what they have on Rob yet, but what are the reasons that the LAPD were able to arrest the murderer instantly? And in this case, we're waiting months and months, likely until February at the earliest, as per TMZ. But TMZ don't really know shit. For LAPD to potentially even just indict David, and her body was found in his car. What would they have on Reiner's son to arrest him immediately while they're building a long case that they're super secretive about? For David, I mean, they didn't even say he was a suspect until it got leaked a few weeks ago. All right, they're saying, I'm just asking for info on what would make a case so strong that they can arrest him same night versus David. It's been 4 months and arrest doesn't seem imminent, so there has to be specific reasons. Now, I think this is really interesting, and I'm going to read some of the comments of this, right? But I want to give my opinion on this. This is actually a little bit insane, right? Because what they were saying, there was rumors that maybe Nick had been, in the property at the time. That's not true. Apparently, the daughter came home, found the bodies, and then they've arrested the son, next day, basically. He wasn't there. He wasn't there with the bodies. They've said they've tracked him down to a convenience store and made an arrest, okay? To me, it is actually insane. Yeah, okay, in a different scenario, a body was found in the car, but once the body was found in the car belonging to the person, just like the body, 2 bodies were found in the property where he had been living, all right? Is it really that crazy that, like, 2 bodies being found inside a property where somebody was living, a body being found in a car, yeah, it got towed, so what? It was in a car just basically round the corner outside of a property where somebody was living. It's actually insane to me. Now, I want to get to the bottom of this. I want to understand what's going on, but I ain't gonna lie, I thought the same shit. How we got David still out here walking around? Because you know what? We ain't seen all the evidence for Rob Reiner's and his wife's murder yet, right? We ain't seen all the evidence. But the LAPD, they can just get in, make an arrest, keep the streets safe. This kid is dangerous, allegedly. Get him off the streets. But David, he's just out here walking around, probably still on Discord. You know what I'm saying? Probably still on Discord having conversation. Who knows? Who knows what he's doing? All right? We need to keep the streets safe. And it's actually crazy because in my opinion, it's like, bro, if you're caught with 2 bodies of your parents in the property, yes, you need to be locked up until we got to the bottom of what's going on. If you're caught with a dead minor in your car, yes, you need to be off the streets until we work out what's going on. Maybe someone and people around you or whoever moved that car, maybe y'all need to all be locked up. So this kind of made my blood boil a little bit. And I'm not saying that there shouldn't be justice in this case, but what I am saying is that it's like it really just exposes just how this David situation, because these are well, I guess the victims in this case were more famous than the kid, but it's like, these are all rich Hollywood people too. I'm sure there would be ways. It just doesn't make sense to me, honestly. All right, this says to arrest someone without waiting for a trial. That doesn't make any... This is already a dumb comment. To arrest someone without waiting for a trial. Bro, the trial comes after the arrest. Police need probable cause. Probable cause is reasonable grounds to believe a person committed a crime. So immediate, strong evidence that links back to that crime. It could be finding the weapon in the suspect's pocket. Well, they arrested him before they searched him, so that's bullshit. Video evidence. Now, maybe there's surveillance footage of him doing the murder in the property, but perhaps. Witnesses saw the crime. I have heard rumors that maybe the daughter actually witnessed, or at least was... heard a confession of the man, of the son that may have committed the crime, potentially, okay? We don't know for sure. They're saying, unfortunately, and this is going to grind my gears, unfortunately, finding the body in David's car isn't enough because the police wouldn't know things like who has access to the car, was it stolen? If they arrest David, they need to be able to charge him or risk effing the whole thing up. We need to keep the streets safe, man. This guy, bro, come on. All right. People saying, I heard that it's because the daughter of the Reiners found the body along with her brother at the residence. Apparently that's not true. He was either covered in blood or confessed, and the daughter relayed that to the LAPD. People saying different situation. And look, I'm willing to accept if it's a different situation. Tell me, someone from the LAPD needs to sit down and explain to me how this is possible. All right. How is David out here walking around? How? It says, unfortunately, David's case is unique since it seems like just about every adult knew of Celeste's whereabouts, including her own family. David's case may in fact turn into a RICO charge for multiple suspects. That would be lit, I ain't gonna lie. David's case is a bit more complicated because it involves his whole record label too. They're armed up with lawyers, and his cases are involving a minor who was also a missing person. Celeste was found in decomposition while Rob's body was still fresh, and his son was problematic throughout his life, so he probably left the most obvious evidence for them to get arrested in blink of eye. Don't talk to me about leaving obvious evidence behind, bro. David's whole career was a whole bunch of weird shit that makes people's it makes you feel like perhaps in your opinion that could have been what who was responsible. That, and they found the body several months after the fact, complicating things. Okay, that's interesting. People saying they're not even remotely similar. They say, I'm going to go with a confession and blood on his hands or clothing. Interesting. It says David's case involves more than Celeste, many more players involved too. It says definitely, I know it's been brought up by many. Why are they waiting to arrest them all at once rather than having arrested David first if they had strong evidence, then adding more charges later? Because the body is decomposed or harder, impossible to determine the cause of death. Whereas with Reiner's son, they know it was a knife. Now that's really interesting. Okay, so they know what the murder weapon is. Is that the reason? It says you can't rush evidence. While the government's limited to spending a reasonable amount of money investigating and prosecuting, it's a reasonable investment for the record label to spend as much money as they can to defend their name and assets. The investigators and legal teams have to work smarter because the defense is already working way harder with a well-funded legal army. Working smarter means doing everything the right way to generate bulletproof evidence and not giving the defense any opportunities to poke holes in that evidence. The added bonus here is that there's a much higher chance of him providing more evidence outside of jail. You're probably right that the perpetrators will all be arrested at the same time, and it does suck that it looks from here that they're just waiting for nothing, but that's working smarter too if it prevents some of them from fleeing the country when the arrests start. And at this point in history, the world could really use a win against the rich and powerful adults who take advantage of those not. I'm not going to lie, like if I was David, I'd be out of the country now. Like David, you're a POS by the looks of things, but like if you're watching this, bruh, you might need to just flee the country, bro. I'm not even trying to give you advice, but like you just a lucky MF. You just a really lucky MF that you've not been arrested for this. And like, even though I really dislike you based on all the things that I've seen, you might as well take advantage of this absolute shambles that they've sprung on you. It says these murders couldn't be more different. Video cameras probably captured the crime in the house. Family reported him as dangerous. The son probably confessed or implicated himself in another way. The son seems like a very impulsive person who's been troubled for decades, likely snapped and didn't have much of a premeditated plan. David's murder was less impulsive. We don't know that for sure. Probably more planned, but he was clearly foolish about how he handled the body. You can tell David and them just thought they were so smart. Like, even just the way he did his album, his rollout, like, he just thought he was so smart. Like, I'm 14 and this is deep type shit. Anyway, you get the gist, right? Security footage, all of these kind of things. Now, look, we already saw, Rob Reiner's obviously very successful, okay? And apparently, I just want to get just a little bit more backstory from the news. So apparently, the bodies were actually discovered by the daughter in the home. So let's just see this news footage.
Just been listening live there to an LAPD press conference updating the situation on the two people found dead inside the mansion of director Rob Reiner in Brentwood. We can confirm CBS News, in fact, has confirmed it is Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle. Those are the two people who were found dead inside of that home. Still a lot to go through because that was quite the press conference.
Nobody in custody, no suspect identified. We want to get right to Lori Perez, who is live for us in.
Hang on a minute. All right, this is some backstory from the daughter, Tracy Reiner.
We did, though, get a short statement from Tracy Reiner, who is Rob Reiner's eldest daughter, an adopted daughter he had with Penny Marshall. He was married to her prior to his marriage to Michelle Reiner. And Tracy, on the phone to our entertainment correspondent, Chloe Malas, said, "I came from the greatest family ever. I don't know what to say. I'm in shock." And I think that's going to be the sentiment around the world tonight, Jessica. We did, though, get...
Just saying that she's in shock. Now, what's really interesting, okay, is apparently just the night before the murders, okay, Rob's son, Nick, was basically acting erratically, and there was like a family Christmas party that apparently went left.
They had attended a Christmas party which was being thrown by the very well-known comedian and talk show host Conan O'Brien. That was on Saturday night, so just a matter of hours before they were found stabbed to death in this home. We know they attended that party together with Nick, their 32-year-old son, and sources have told NBC that Nick's behaviour was erratic during that party. They said he was disruptive and interrupting conversations on a regular basis. And apparently his parents had expressed worries about Nick's health. At one point during that party, he interrupted a conversation that the actor and comedian Bill Hader was having with two other guests. Apparently Mr. Hader told Nick that it was a private conversation, and Nick reacted by standing and staring and then storming off. So all of that happened apparently just hours before they were killed inside their home here, a home which apparently their son Nick was living with them in on and off occasionally. Nick's struggles with drug addiction and mental health issues are well publicised. Both he and his parents have spoken about those issues in the past. But what an enormous tragedy, and a tragedy which has now been politicised.
So we're going to get to the politics in a minute, right? But apparently, okay, at that same party, all right, Nick had been beefing with his own father. And I'm not going to lie, I don't mean to belittle what's going on, but, like, this is just absolutely crazy Hollywood shit. Like, you're at a Conan O'Brien Christmas party. What is it, Bill Hader? You're trying to butt into these conversations with A-list celebrities and you're acting weird. Like, what is going on here? This is crazy. So apparently, okay, there's some more information here from TMZ. Said Rob and son Nick were in a heated argument at Conan O'Brien's Christmas party. It says Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle and their son Nick attended Conan's Christmas party Saturday night. At the party, Rob and Nick got into a very loud argument, loud enough for many others to hear. And Reiner family sources tell TMZ, we're told Rob and Michelle then left the party, but we don't know if Nick left as well. Okay, and they're saying TMZ is the first. TMZ just love patting themselves on the back. It's just crazy, bro. It's actually crazy. Yeah, that's actually crazy. All right, I just want to be careful about what I say here, okay? This is kind of a little bit of a look back at Rob Reiner throughout the years on TMZ. Let's have a look at this.
Why are you here tonight? I'm here to support the cause and also to see two great legends perform. Paul McCartney and Brian Wilson, two of the great songwriters of the past century. Does the U.S. do more than any other government in the world in terms of global demining?
Very successful career, man. You know, it's sad to see. Not that any life, whether it's the life of an innocent teenager or, you know, an A-list Hollywood director, is worth any less or more, but you know, it's a sad way to go out after, you know, somebody that had just done so much, probably done so much for so many people, and really, you know, for his son, everything that he had done for his son, probably looked out for him. I mean, yeah, clearly they had an argument, but, like, you know, there's clearly just, it's just such a sad and just bizarre way to go out. You know, he'd been very, very successful. 2 Primetime Emmy Awards, a Hugo Award, nominations for Oscar, BAFTA, 9 Golden Globes. Like, he had a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. This is just an absolutely crazy way to go out. You know, just very, very successful. And really, wait a minute. He was in The Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah, he was acting too. Just so crazy and so sad for him to go out this way, right? And obviously, There's a little bit of backstory about his family, and, you know, his son. Is that his son that... Bruh. Nick and Rob Reiner at the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration 2016 Voice Awards. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. That shit's crazy. That shit's crazy, man. So there's a bunch of stuff, basically. Oh, my God. This is... No way. This is in the Hollywood Reporter. Look at this headline. It says, Conan O'Brien threw a holiday party to forget a bad year. Then Nick Reiner arrived. It says, Bill Hader and other guests were worried the erratic attendee, 6'3", 230 pounds, had wandered off into the streets. So this is going to give way more backstory into this party and how it went left. I'm not going to lie, this is the aspect I'm actually the most interested in. It says it was meant to be, the way that they're writing this is crazy. It was meant to be an evening of good cheer. A group of... All right. I guess I won't highlight it. A group of powerful... Internet's crazy, man. A group of powerful Hollywood creatives and executives gathered on Saturday night for a holiday party at the home of Conan O'Brien. The estate is nestled in a section of the Pacific Palisades spared by the fires that decimated the affluent neighborhood almost a year prior. O'Brien had to evacuate during that terrifying time, and for him and the guests in attendance, this was a chance to shake off the bad mojo of 2025 and look forward to a happier and more hopeful year. But as the night progressed, a different kind of dark energy filled the room. An erratic male figure wandered around the party and interrupted conversations, demanding to know who attendees were and if they were famous. Ah, man, that's so cringe. Many, like Jane Fonda and Bill Hader, in fact, were. Whispers begun to ripple. The imposing man, 6'3", approximately 230 pounds, had wandered off into the street, and many had not wandered in off the street, though many wondered if he had. The man was the son of Rob and Michelle Reiner. His name was Nick. He was troubled. He had a lifetime of drug issues. Compassion was quietly urged. Sympathies and concerns for his parents, one of whom was a Hollywood giant, were expressed. Nick's name was not on the invitation, but his parents asked O'Brien if he could tag along. His behavior, which had often been extreme and stressful, had grown degrees more concerning in recent weeks. They were reluctant to leave him alone in the guest house of their Brentwood home, where he was currently living under their watchful supervision. I don't even want to say what I was about to say. So Bill Hader calmly responded to Nick that he was engaged in a private conversation, and according to someone with knowledge of the situation, Nick glared at him for what felt like an uncomfortable amount of time. Sometime later, shouts echoed, all conversations stopped, and people turned towards the racket and realized that two men arguing, and it was Rob and his son, having it out over Nick's asocial and unsettling behavior. Minutes later, the Reiners, mortified, apologized to Conan and left the party, and it wasn't clear whether Nick left with them. The conversation kind of returned to the room, but the mood was basically spoiled, all right? And basically, wow. They said Nick checked into the Pierside, Santa Monica, where staff later discovered a shower full of blood and bed sheets hanging over the window. Rob and Michelle were then discovered slain. So look, this is the reason why he was able to get arrested, because they're talking about a shower full of blood and bed sheets hanging over the window. That's so sad, okay? And he was taken into custody. So they're saying shower full of blood is crazy. So this is in TMZ. It says Rob and Michelle Reiner's son Nick's hotel was full of blood after the murders. So this is, I mean, obviously it's different to the David situation, but we're learning together, right? This is Nick checked into the Pierside Santa Monica at 4 a.m. Sunday using his credit cards. His check-in came hours after he was in a heated argument with his father at Conan O'Brien's Christmas party. It sounds like maybe like they was in an argument and then he just wilded out. Eyewitnesses who saw Nick check in said he seemed tweaked out, but there were no visible signs he'd been in a violent confrontation. The reservation was made just for a day, but he never formally checked out. When the staff came into his room late Sunday morning, they found the shower full of blood and blood on the bed, and the window was covered by bed sheets. LAPD robbery homicide detectives went to the hotel Monday to gather evidence and interview employees. They probably left some evidence behind because that seems to be how they roll. Nick was eventually tracked down and arrested 20 miles away in Exposition Park. That is crazy. That is crazy. So he basically had a film, right? He had a movie. This movie, Being Charlie, it was based on his son's struggles with addiction, right? And it basically is. It was Rob Reiner directed this film. And it was written by Nick Reiner, right? And just imagine that you're such a fuck-up son that you're just a disaster for your famous father. And he's going out the way. He's making a movie about you and letting you write, like putting you in position. You go and do this to him. Like, what a piece of shit. I ain't gonna lie. A would-be governor's addicted son goes down the long, rough road of rehab, fighting against recovery every inch of the way. Like, just this guy's just such a piece of dirt that it's just like, bro, your father did absolutely everything that he could, and you fought and kicked and screamed every step of the way. He's even taking you to Conan O'Brien's party, and then you're just murdering everyone at the end of it. You are a piece of shit. Like, just rot in jail, please. Like, you can just rot in jail, please. Like, no thanks. Don't pass go. We don't need you. Like, you know what I mean? The main character's even named, like, bruh, it's all about you, and it's still not good enough, all right? I mean, you know, Charlie is a troublesome 18-year-old who breaks out of a youth drug treatment clinic, but then when he returns home to LA, he's given an intervention by his parents and forced to go to an adult rehab. There he meets a beautiful but troubled girl, Eva, and is forced to battle with drugs, elusive love, and divided parents. So it says, in an interview on WTF with Mark Maron, Rob Reiner said this film is the most personal film he's ever directed, and Reiner's son, Nick Reiner, co-wrote the screenplay, which is loosely based on his own struggles with drug addiction. It's crazy, man. It's actually crazy. What other trivia have we got? What other trivia have we got? Oh, they've already updated it with the information from the murder. This is crazy. Nick Reiner's screenwriting debut. Grand opening, grand closing. What a piece of dirt. So basically, right, the same year as that movie, Rob and Nick would speak publicly about the film and Nick's addiction that apparently started during his teenage years. And this is just a classic Hollywood fuck up. And you see it a lot with these Hollywood A-list stars, and they have their spoiled, rotten, entitled kids that they're just living in the shadow of their parents. They're lazy, they're spoiled, they don't grow up to want to do anything for themselves. They've had everything handed to them on a silver spoon, and then they just crash out.
Deep down, he trusted that we loved him, and
bruh, come on, man, is that him? Bruh, I ain't invited him. Bruh, he ain't invited to no. Bruh, how you doing inviting him to the Conan party, bro?
That we were there for him.
Well, I think I'm lucky in the sense that I have parents that care about me, and because of that, when I would go out and do, you know, things like drugs and stuff like that, I'd feel a tremendous amount of guilt because I'd think, oh, they're thinking about me right now. They want me to do good, and most people don't have, not most people, but some people don't have parents that are, you know, have any interest in them.
Yeah. By the way, we're talking with Nick Reiner and his father, Rob Reiner. Nick had a drug issue in his teens and beat it and wrote a movie about it, and his dad directed it. And
deep down, he trusted that we loved him and that we were there for him, and that put a little bit of a brake on certain things. I mean, it's a desire to survive, you know, and that put a little, and I think that's where we made the mistake, is that we didn't trust that he had that.
If you supported him as opposed to.
This kid is dark energy, bro. This kid is dark energy, bro. Should have left him in that rehab clinic. Look at the state of him.
You were punishing him.
Yes, we were definitely
meaning like grounding him. You can't use the car. You got to stay home. All that
just
stuff.
The whole idea of throwing him into a rehab place. You know, just saying okay, and there's a punitive aspect.
But if you hadn't done that, how could you treat him on? You couldn't treat him on your own.
No, not on our own. But we could have maybe just
mollycoddled this kid. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it's so punishment throwing him into a rehab clinic. This kid's out of control. Look at him. He's a demon.
With him, with a therapist, and you know, been a little bit more active in that way. I think we just overreact.
Look at, bro. This kid's a demon, bro. I'm not trying to belittle the situation, but bro, look at the state of him. Just look at the way he's looking.
Active in that way.
He's just dark energy. He looks like a fucking serial. Bro, this is dark energy, bro. I ain't inviting him to the party.
I think we just overreacted, but I mean,
Nick, I
love hearing that he said that, because I knew he has that in him. And there's a part of him that wants to survive, and he doesn't want to, you know, kill himself or anything.
Bro, stop. Oh, man, this actually makes my blood boil. Has anyone commented on this? Psh, this didn't age well. 32 and still behave like an entitled toddler. Lock him up and throw away the key. His parents care about him, but he used this opportunity to do anything, and he misused the parents' trust. Rob Reiner's guilt is overwhelming, very sad in hindsight. If only the son had been put into a home for psychiatric patients. He seems to have a host of mental issues. There's an empty gaze which psychopaths have. There's a reason people kill. He killed 2 innocents, but can't help feeling for Nick because he's a sufferer of mental illness. I don't feel for him. Oh, no. You can't see this comment because it's behind me, but it says, how's that going, Rob? Can't fix stupid. Very sad, okay? Very, very, very sad. But anyway, all right. Back in 2016, okay, after he'd mollycoddled him, made a whole film, bent over backwards, sent him to rehab, and then felt bad about it. Oh, I'm punishing him. Sent him. No, you're not punishing him, bro. This kid needed to be locked up 10 years ago. All right. They opened up in People magazine about the addiction and, you know, they've cleaned him up here a little bit. All right. But, oh, my God. Just think of all the opportunities that, like, good, honest young men who actually deserve these opportunities miss out on. And when you've got these spoiled, rotten, silver spoon-fed psychopaths that are murdering their parents, getting whole Hollywood films made about them, bro. Just whitewashing their history and sucking them off. Like, it's embarrassing. In the film Being Charlie, a former actor with political ambitions, Carrie Ells, struggles in his relationship with his son, Nick Robinson, who's addicted to heroin. Rob Reiner directs the film, and fittingly so, it's loosely based on his own fight to get his son off drugs. I was never angry, says Reiner in his West Hollywood office, talking frankly about discovering that his son had used drugs just shy of his 15th birthday. So he was off the dog food at 14, all right? He was coming like a young boy, but it's no excuse, all right? You out here doing heroin when your father's an A-list director, bro. You an absolute fuck up, bro. Come on, bro. I felt bad for him and I didn't know what to do for help. And a lot of times parents don't know what to do. Rob Reiner did absolutely everything that he possibly could, and he got cut to death by his own son. Just absolute scumbag. What Reiner and his wife, Michelle, did was ship Nick off to rehab. It was the first of what would become 18 stays. Bro, after like 12 stays, he's cooked, bro. Just send him to Siberia or fuck this kid. Eventually resulting in Nick becoming homeless when he refused to re-enter recovery at 19. Bro, fuck him. And you let him come back and live in the Hollywood Hill and you invited him to the Conan party. What a joke. You kind of throw yourself at the mercy of a lot of people who are supposed experts, says Reiner. They all tell you these things, but they don't take into account your child. And you should know your child better than they do anyway. Something we learned. Bro, mollycoddling this kid. Bro, this kid's a demon. Fuck this kid. Nick explains that what saved him wasn't the facilities or the programs, but growing up and coming to terms with his experience. I was able to wait it out long enough in order to see just a glimpse of things differently. That's all it took, just to see the situation I was in from a slightly different angle, says Nick. The concept of life became clear to me. Did it? Did it? Now, even after this, after his own father made a whole film about him, oh, poor me, oh, tiny little violin for Nick Reiner, all right? By 2017, he was popping up on podcasts and admitting he was relapsing again, and he would describe a drug-induced heart attack, right, before he was even 30, and an incident where he destroyed his parents' guest house where they so kindly let him come and live right before he fucking murdered them.
And I also want you to take a shot at recovery again sometime, and then you can call in and say how good your life is.
Okay.
And will you call in again soon?
Yes.
But no heart attack stories.
All right.
What was the heart attack feel like?
Pretty bad.
That's it. What about when you wrecked the guest house on meth? You don't want to tell that story?
Yeah, I went 10 rounds with my guest house.
Well, tell this. He got.
You know why I hate this kid? Yeah, I went 10 rounds with my guest. He thinks it's cool. He thinks it's funny. He thinks it's a joke. I went 10 rounds with my guest house. Bro, you're disgusting. Like you're a joke. All you had to do was not do heroin. And I'm not saying I don't have sympathy for people who go through addiction, but you had every head start in life. You know what the opportunities that you had that people would kill for. You got A-list father making films about your lame, failed recovery, and you're out here talking about, I went 10 rounds with my guest house. Bro, get the fuck out of here, bro. Lock him up, throw away the key. Fuck this kid.
Sequestered in his parents' guest house. What was the story there? That's a good dopey story.
Sequestered?
Tell that story for you.
It's not much of a story. I got totally spun out on uppers. I think it was coke and something else, and I was up for days on end, and I started punching out different things in my guest house.
Like a frame? Like what? Like a stuff?
No, I think I started with the TV, and then I went over to the lamp, and then everything in the guest house got wrecked.
Did you punch the TV?
Yeah, I literally punched the TV.
Did you like lacerate your hands? I mean, that sounds bad.
Did you hurt yourself?
I don't even remember at this point.
You were too fucked up. He was about to have a heart attack. So he destroyed the guest house.
Give me a break.
You know, you called me that morning. It was just about a year ago. I was upstate, and you were like, dude, I just fucked up the guest house, and now I got to get clean. You're like, help me find a place. And I reached out to Bob Forrest, and
bro, all these people that were willing to help you, you're absolutely not worth the shake. Like, you're not worth the breath, bro. All these celebrities, bro, fuck you, bro. Lock them up. Anyway, the last thing I want to leave you with, because this is absolutely just mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling, okay? One person who had no sympathy, and I ain't gonna lie, I'm not condoning it. I'm not condoning it, but this is just, I just want to bask in just the bizarreness of what I'm about to show you. Donald Trump basically decided that now Rob Reiner had been hacked to death by his son. He said now was a time to dunk on Rob Reiner for being an outspoken critic of Trump. And he basically popped out and said he's got no sympathy and just did a whole crazy post on, I guess it was Truth Social or X, just dunking on Rob Reiner. I ain't gonna lie. I don't condone this, but this is the political equivalent of like when your op gets killed and you basically say new pack just landed. Like I do not condone this, okay? But Donald Trump basically went, yeah, new pack just landed, this gas or what?
Forever be remembered as a TV and film icon, but he was also active politically, an outspoken critic of President Trump. The president offered little sympathy when he was asked about the tragedy.
Well, I wasn't a fan of his at all. He was a deranged person as far as Trump is concerned. I think he hurt himself in career-wise. He became like a deranged person, Trump derangement syndrome.
Trump's comments come after he wrote this incendiary post on Truth Social earlier in the morning, claiming the couple who were brutally murdered in their own home, quote, passed away because of anger Reiner caused with his outspoken criticism of Trump. The post sparked immediate and intense backlash, this time from inside his own party.
I think President Trump should have said nothing. When someone is murdered, we should show him and his family respect.
Kentucky Republican.
So I'll read you what he said. And again, I'm not condoning it. It's not cool. But he basically said, new pack just landed. Is it gas or what? He said, a very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling but once very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away, together with his wife, Michelle, reportedly due to the anger he had caused others through his massive, unyielding and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. It's unbelievable that he would. It's like, I'm not condoning. I'm just saying like this. I'm like I don't know. There's not many people that I dislike. There's one or two, I'm not going to tell you who, but there's one or two times in my life when someone's died and I've just kind of been like, man, but I don't feel like what Rob Reiner did to him was deserving of this. This is crazy. He said he was known to have driven people crazy by his raging obsession of President Donald J. Trump, with his obvious paranoia reaching new heights as the Trump administration surpassed all goals and expectations of greatness. And with the golden age of America upon us, perhaps like never before, may Rob and Michelle rest in peace. I don't even have words for that, okay? Now, I just want to recap and I want to reiterate, okay, just rest in peace to Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle. Absolutely, I got I don't even know what that was all about. But his son clearly was just seemed like a piece of shit, just seemed like a psycho. You just see it, bruh. You know, sometimes you see people with dark energy and you're just like, nah, you might spray the spot up. You know what I'm saying? You might just go get busy with the kitchen knife. There's them people. I ain't gonna lie. I've met girls before. I ain't gonna lie. There's been times in my past where you meet a female and you're just like, I ain't trying to let you be near no scissors. Like you, them crazy eyes. This you had crazy eyes. Okay, so we're gonna, I don't want to say innocent until proven guilty, allegedly. They're saying he was in the hotel covered in blood. I mean, there's no arrest for David. I've got to watch what I say with David. I've got, in my opinion, all right? Can't say anything bad about David. But apparently this kid clearly did it, allegedly, according to some people, in my opinion. So, good riddance, ma'am. I definitely trying to see him locked up. Piece of scum, had every head start in life, famous parents, A-list parties, and he's just another one of those fuck-ups. He's like that Ute from Grand Theft Auto 5, man. And it's just like, it's so sad that it got to this point. And the love that his father and his mother gave to him and all the chances to put him in rehab 18 times, and the 19th time he didn't want to go back and he ended up being homeless. Like, what a piece of shit, bro. They should have cut him off time ago. And I'm not going to lie, shit like this is why I don't want to have kids. So I don't actually want to have kids. Fuck them kids. And this is how it can go left for you. Okay, especially if you're successful, you know what I'm saying, industry player like Rob Reiner was, you end up having these entitled, spoiled little murdering kids. So, yeah, can't wait to see him go down for life, lock him up, throw away the keys, exactly where he should be. And unfortunately, it was too late for Rob and his wife to get away from this freak. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think down below. I'll be back with some more updates, some more street news, some more David news. Stay tuned. I appreciate you. I'm out. Peace.